Hey everyone, it's Jenny from Homestead Corner, and today we're out in the herb garden. So it's still kind of early to be gardening up here in Maine. We still can get frost and have even seen snowstorms past this day. So we don't usually plant too much until later in the month. Usually Memorial Day and after we're safe, we can start planting around that time. We had a pretty good frost last night, but the things that have started to come up in the herb beds are able to handle a little bit of frost, so it's not too bad. And things are coming up pretty good. We've got a bunch of the herb stuff. I've just been poking around to see what made it through the winter and what didn't. So you can see right here next to me, we have a nice batch of chamomile coming up. It's spilling out over the rocks. It's kind of all over the place, but I leave the last bit of chamomile when it slows down and is producing just a few flowers. We leave all of those in here, and they're not perennials, but the seeds will replant themselves. So if you leave the last bit of your chamomile, it's going to come back in the spring, and mine just kind of comes back where it wants. We love volunteer plants, and whatever comes up, it wants to live. We let it do it. It's definitely kind of a mess still. We're in the midst of rearranging, but we had 3 of these raised beds right off the back of the house, and we planted green beans and cucumbers and all kinds of stuff in there. Whatever we needed extra room for would go in there. One of the beds completely fell apart. You could see we don't use we just use regular wood, not the treated stuff. I don't want that in my food. So these beds are about 7 years old, and they have just about had it. One just exploded when we ran into it. So these 2 hopefully will make it through the summer. I think they will. I have faith in them. And then we added this little section. I just put a little border in the back, some stuff we had kicking around. And I moved some plants around. We had a bunch of thyme in another area, so we transplanted them here. And we added a couple rosemary, and I think there's lavender over here, some lavender, and there's some daisies. And the green onions and the chives have been here for years, and they just last, and they just keep coming up and spreading, and I have to keep taking the chives out because they overtake and go wild. And and then we have a nice garden sage. This is coming back really nice. This is a couple years old, but it just keeps coming back really good. And this is not the best soil here. There's a lot of sand, but it drains really well, and herbs really, they'll grow just about anywhere. They don't like it too compact. They do like that well-drained soil, so they do quite well, which is really nice. And then some columbine, and this white sage plant is starting to come back to life. It's looking a little scary, but it's coming. And a little bit of white violets. One of my friends gave me this patch a few years ago. I just love it. They're so pretty. And I have spaced these out quite a bit because a lot of them are just going to grow, and they're going to take up a lot of space, especially like this is just a little teeny patch of oregano, but I'll tell you, oregano goes nuts right here. We have another one on the other side, and that thing is 3.5 feet tall and about 4 feet wide by the time it gets done. So this year, because everything is small, we will add in onions, lettuce, maybe some whatever, any kind of herbs. We'll put parsley in here, things like that. We'll just fill it all in because it's going to take a few years for this stuff to really grow up. And but we'll put a bunch of annual quick growing things in here, and so we can just utilize every little bit of space that we have. And but I did space them out a little extra just because I know that they are going to grow and expand, and you know, we'll need that space eventually for those plants. And out in the raspberry patch, the leaves are just about the right size. Well, I'm going to give them another week or so, and then we'll start picking raspberry leaves for tea. They are so good for you, and they're delicious in tea. So I like to get them when they're nice and young before anything starts berrying. And they're starting to come on pretty good right now. We've got a couple of ladies that have decided they're going to try and hatch some babies. So, yay. Good little girls. They've been there all day yesterday. We'll see where this goes. So this other part of the bed has a couple patches of oregano, tons of daisies. The daisies just keep spreading and spreading all over the place, but those are great for teas also. If you look at your plants, most of them have medicinal value. Even, you know, daisies, things like that. I use them for teas. They're easy to dry, and we love having them in the cabinet. So we also have chamomile in here, roses, thyme, bee balm, lemon. The lemon balm died, which is sad. I love lemon balm. And there's just a ton of different stuff, and it kind of jumps out and expands on its own, and we just let it go. We have bird feeders along the edge of the porch, so sometimes we have sunflowers growing in here. Mustard grows on its own, all kinds of stuff. I love volunteer plants. We just let them go and enjoy them. You know, once they grow, we eat the mustard greens. They're great, and you can get your mustard seeds if you let them go to seed. So that is another great way to go. And herb gardens do not take a lot of care, which is wonderful. And you know, you have the flavoring for your foods, your medicinal properties, and you know, your flavoring for your foods. You definitely want to have stuff that you can flavor foods with. If you're going to be growing a lot of your food, if it comes to an SHTF situation where you are growing most of your food, then having an herb garden is great. They don't take a lot of care, and you can come out, cut some chives, cut some thyme, some dill, you know, throw all that stuff in a salad, throw it on your chicken or whatever, roast vegetables with it. It's really wonderful to have that, and it's nice that you know what's in it, you know how you treat it. You know, we don't use any chemicals at all. We do all natural, and you know, it's just because we're growing it for ourselves. And this stuff, I know exactly what it is. I don't have to worry about what anybody did to it. So that is always nice to have that stuff. And herbs are easy to dry. We just use a drying rack. It's very simple. And just hang it up and let them sit for a few days. They dry right out nice. And I don't dehydrate my little leaves because they're just so tender, and I have had them turn brown and burn a little bit. So I find just either on a paper towel or on a screen drying rack, something like that works perfect for us. I hope you all are out getting into your gardens, seeing what there is, starting gardens, get those seeds going. Warmer places, I'm sure, are already planting. Here in Maine, we still have to wait a little bit. So far, I've only planted some cold stuff, you know, a little bit of spinach we planted, and some onions and rosemary, things that can handle a little bit of frost. But other than that, we still have to wait. Tell me how your garden's going. I would love to hear what you guys are doing. Are you growing in containers, raised beds, in the ground, vegetables, fruit, herbs? What are you growing this year? I would love to know. And that's it for today. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.